Marcellus, get us rolling here. Is LeBron's focus a problem for LeBron James?
Not at all. I think the birth certificate comes into play more than anything, but if you want to just focus in on last night and then try to extract from there, I don't think it's a focus issue. I took issue and took notice of some of the greats, Hall of Famers, champions before, who did things that we would deem not focused, but at the same time we gave them their pass because of what they were up to or what the situation was. Let's start with Magic Johnson, who used to kiss his opponent before a game, and guess what? I didn't think that necessarily was in the bylaws of competition, but you know what?
My dad never liked that.
I never knew what to think of it, but I was just like, oh, it wasn't even the gender thing. It was the fact that you about to play him? Okay, all right, let that live. Michael Jordan, the greatest, to the tune of his focus issues, had to depart the game of basketball that he was focused on for a year or so to return back to it. Some will call that a retirement, but if you come back to something, you're not fully retired, so that could be deemed quitting, which is not necessarily part of focus. But I look at LeBron, who is now going to get charged with all these situations and allegations, living in a world where there's social media. And those guys are living in tape delay. Some of them, none of them have social media. I don't think it's a focus issue. If anything, you just say, look, let's lean into his age.
Kawhi's got social media. Kawhi has social media.
Oh, yeah, and he does it in a different way, but we'll get to that. I don't want to be up all the time. But no, it's not a focus issue for me.
I knew when LeBron went and fell on Kevin Hart's lap. I knew. I said, first of all, he better win this game. Because if he doesn't, I knew this subject was going to be up for debate. I'll say this. LeBron is just different. You mentioned in Whitlock, which was great. I loved it. I actually did. I made some valid points. But he's different from the all-time greats that we all talked about with the Kobe, the Michael Jordan have the edge. He's done it a different way. And he still has the hardware to show for it. So
not as much.
I mean, three is pretty
Three.
good.
Three?
You can't sleep on three.
Yeah, I mean,
Magic
come
got
on.
five.
Larry Bird sitting there like, you better not sleep on three.
Injured back.
Bird's back broke down.
I don't care how he got there.
But it's still more opportunities to go.
Yeah.
But I would say that. But there are people who feel like LeBron goes out of his way to make himself the show. You know, like I've covered LeBron, so I've noticed for a while. Like when I was in Cleveland, you know, LeBron enters the locker room because he has a big old like pill box playing music. So you know Bron is coming in. And then, you know, he did that last night where you know, okay, LeBron's about to come in. You know it before you even see it. And so that can rub some people the wrong way if they feel like he has to be the star of everything. And people say he was taking a moment away from AD. That happened organically. It happened naturally during the flow of the game. So I get it, but I understand, is LeBron a real big goofy kid? Yes, he is. But he still has 3 championships. And that's nothing to sneeze about, Whitlock.
Can't do that.
No, but if you want to be considered the greatest player of all time, which he said in his own words that he considers himself, because they came from 3-1 back, he considered himself the greatest player. No one's ever done that. I'm the greatest ever. You are who your best player is. And in the biggest NBA game of the season, after losing the previous biggest NBA game of the season, just last Thursday night in Milwaukee, you're up at half. Go and get Anthony Davis and run into the locker room and let's go and dominate. Let's go and get to 20 points. If the players see you acting like it's an all-star game, they're going to react in kind. You are who your best player is, especially in basketball. He's not a stone-cold killer. He does love trying to do everything. I'm with you, Whitlock. Like, look, you mentioned it. He not only had the music playing when he'd show up in the locker room. You go back to last year when he was hurt. Remember, the team would come out, they'd get introduced, the game would start, then LeBron would come out. Why? He wanted his own ovation. You know, he shows up with a goblet of wine one day, you know, buzzed, watching the game. No one's ever done that. Why? Because LeBron thinks he's above it. He thinks he knows that he is popular, he is famous, he is the show. And the Clippers kicked their ass again last night at Staples Center. Like, look, Dude and I are from here. We know, like, the idea that the Clippers are anywhere close to the equal of the Lakers is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And they didn't do it because they were so great shooting threes. They did it with offensive rebounds, getting to the free throw line, and they kept the Lakers out of the lane and made them play to their weakness, which is shooting threes. I'm with you. I don't think focus is the sole issue. I do think that age is a good portion of it. But I do think that LeBron thinks, hey, I'm LeBron. I've always been able to figure it out. I can lock in when I want to lock in. I can do the team. There's a certain arrogance to when you get to LA, you think you can do everything and still keep the main thing the main thing. But those guys are coming for you. And that guy, Kawhi Leonard, is much more wired like the previous guys who are stone cold killers. And the only thing important is winning that game, and that's not LeBron.
And I think that the greatest of all time, generally speaking, aren't blessed with just an abundance of talent. Michael Jordan, extremely talented, but wasn't on his varsity team as a sophomore in high school or whatever. Not the guys that were bigger than him went drafted. It's a game that rewards size. And Michael had good size, but not great size. Tom Brady, Joe Montana in football. The game bores LeBron sometimes. And that's where I think he loses focus. He gets bored. He has too much talent. Wilt Chamberlain, to me, had the exact same problem, and that's why Wilt, the most talented player other than LeBron, I think, to ever play basketball, left the game with fewer titles than the guys he was competing against and the other all-time greats.
Yeah, I hear you. I'll push back on the Jordan situation. He was a late bloomer, 6'6", with a 48-inch jump and quick, short space skills. People who say he wasn't as talented, you got to kind of look at his measurables when he was Michael Jordan. I'm looking at the complexion of the killer, the stone cold killer, as it has evolved over the years. Because I remember growing up in Los Angeles, the pushback of Magic Johnson, who was a killer with a smile.
Exactly.
And people used to destroy him. Is he focused or not? Because why is he smiling all the time? But guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. People stopped saying that as much. Then we got to Michael Jordan, who said, I'm going to be a killer with a smile, but my smile's coming once I leave this locker room. But on the court, I'm a stone cold killer. And then Kobe took the baton and said, I'm never going to smile. Guess what? I came in with the Coca-Cola afro, dating Brandy, and now I realize my brand is never smile, Black Mamba. So now you look at LeBron.
Well, he started not smiling after
at Colorado.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Man, I know this. So, look, let me be real about it.
Put the context
But I
in
said
there.
at first it came with the fro and the brandy, and then it switched. So here's the thing. Now LeBron is like, I don't have to look for attention. I don't have to walk in the locker room saying, I'm here. Y'all already looking. So guess what I'm going to do with that? Shine it in the ways, sometimes childlike ways, in which he wants to show his personality. But at the end, like all the others I just named, you're going to be able to count multiple championships that shows this guy is focused.
It's going to stop at 3. The count's going to stop at 3.
This year.
Oh, it's done at 3.
Career.
Okay,
Yeah, he's done.
I can take that.
And if that's the case, Whitlock, that is an amazing career. That is an amazing career. And,
It's also underachieving for his talent.
okay, we can call it that, but the way that the championship you won against Golden State, coming back from a 3-1 deficit, nope.
None.
Right.
You can't take anything from that. Yeah. And what I would say is about Michael Jordan, I'm glad more information came about when it comes to Michael Jordan getting cut in high school, because I use that as motivation. I got cut my freshman year in high school, but I didn't realize till later on Michael Jordan was a sophomore, tried to make his varsity team.
Yeah.
You ain't supposed to make it.
You ain't supposed to be there.
You ain't supposed to, it wasn't like he was a junior,
Right.
So it's a little different. But anyway, I will say this. To me, nobody will ever be able to take over Michael Jordan's reign as the #1 basketball player of all time. That's me. And so, I want to get that out there first and foremost. But if LeBron James, to me, was able to get one more championship, particularly with the Los Angeles Lakers, if it does happen, if it does happen, Whitlock and Doug, you have to put him in the debate. I can't argue with anybody if they say, "Oh, it's LeBron or MJ." I'll be like, you know what? I disagree. But at the same time, the hardware, the accomplishments, and the way he went through it, I can't dispute it.
Well, look, I don't want to get into the Jordan-LeBron thing or whatever. I do think they can win a championship. I thought the best part you made was the difference in him and Kawhi is Kawhi's from here, right? Like, when you pick a spot to live and you go live in Brentwood. Brentwood's amazing, but nobody living in Brentwood is from LA, right? Those are people from elsewhere. You live in those coastal cities, they're from somewhere else, and they dreamed of LA, and that's their LA dream. Whereas Kawhi is the real deal, so he's not overwhelmed by it. He's not.
Kawhi is different regardless. It has nothing to do with...
Well, that's great.
It has nothing to do with him being here from L.A. He's a different dude.
I agree. I agree, but dudes from Riverside are wired different than people who move in here from Cleveland. Like Riverside is real
check this out. I got one
hardcore
for you.
people.
How would James Harden do playing for the Lakers or the Clippers?
It'd be a little different.
We
He's from
know,
LA, Westbrook.
We know what James...
I
don't know the strip club scene in LA.
It's sketchy. It's picking up, though.
I'm not familiar.
Look,
Barbie Coast.
Kawhi is definitely a different dude. There's no... And his ability to focus and his ability to be a robot is, to me, separating him from LeBron James. The question now is, did he prove last night that he's clearly better than LeBron James right now?
Yeah, he did. For anybody who hasn't been watching basketball for 2 years, like last night was an epiphany. Whoa, Kawhi's better than LeBron.
Oh, you think he was already there?
Man, stop. Of course he's been already. Like Michael Jordan at his camp that he had in Santa Barbara 2 years ago said, yeah, Kawhi's the best two-way player. And I started saying, why don't they just say he's the best player? Because there's no other way to play basketball. You either play offense, you can play
three-way player.
You can be a three-way player. So
special teams.
Right. How long have we been saying Kawhi's the best two-way player? For a minute. Now, for me, the championship should have shut up all the naysayers, but still they're looking for all these moments to say that LeBron is still the best. Look, you can be an apologist, and I love LeBron for so many things, but one thing I'm not going to do as an athlete is sit there and lie to you and say you're better than you are. You were, you're not anymore. Take it, look in the mirror.
The reason the finals didn't shut everybody up because Kevin Durant was out, LeBron James wasn't in it. So that's the reason. And nobody's talking about Toronto anymore anyways. With that being said, yes, right now, like today,
And
Kawhi today,
and the day before,
today,
and
but I don't know. I don't know
last year.
I don't know if I can say this in January. I don't know if I can say this in 2 weeks when LeBron James is healthy.
Do you think LeBron's going to get more healthy through the season at 34, turning 35 than he
I
is?
think he'll get more healthier than he is right now.
You think he's unhealthy right now?
Yes.
You think if they had won, we would have heard a word about his groin?
Yeah, I think he will have.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You heard his groin from a charge. That one was weird. Look,
Well,
Durant was the best player on earth in the two NBA finals. He was the MVP. He was the better player in the second half of most of those 4 out of the 5 games. You know, Durant was the better player.
I'm not going there.
Oh, but I believe that. And I believe he became a two-way player when he went to Golden State.
I'm with you.
But look, let's not argue Durant.
All that help?
Let's not argue Durant. He didn't have help. But the first year, LeBron had plenty of help. He had Kyrie, he had Kevin Love, he had Tristan Thompson, and Kevin Durant. They guarded each other, and one guy scored in the second half, and the other guy didn't. One guy's team won, the other guy didn't.
They all have help.
Okay,
Kareem
no
was
one's
there.
ever done it by themselves.
Pippen
right?
was there. Like,
Magic's never won without Kareem.
Thank you.
So
let's not do this.
But to answer your question, yes.
Magic won the NCAA title without Kareem.
But to answer your question, yes. Look. The big difference is this: LeBron can't keep people in front, can't guard the top of the league anymore. He's very cerebral and he's a leader defensively and he tells everybody else what to do and he can occasionally make a play and get a rebound, but he can't really guard. Couldn't guard Giannis the other night, can't guard Kawhi last night. That's one. The other part is on offense, he can't get to the spots he wants to get to. You listen to all these guys talk after the game, they talk about getting to their spots. KD always talked about it. Kawhi always wants to get to his right hand to that 18-foot jump shot. LeBron the reason he's settling for threes is, and maybe it's the groin, but this has been a problem even before the groin earlier this year against the better teams they played against. He can't get to his spots. He doesn't have that burst. Some of it's how they're playing him, where he's not playing as much downhill because they're not really a pick and roll team. They're kind of a mishmash parts that they're trying to figure out. But a lot of it is age and explosiveness. Kawhi's the better player. Both times they matched up, I think a blind man could have
I'm glad you're saying this because getting to your spots is one of the first symptoms of, you're starting to have attrition. You're starting to go down the hill. Age is kicking in. Because if you look at it from a defensive perspective, as you go into any NBA locker room before the game, there's the whiteboard up with the percentages and the players' names next to it. This is where he wants to go. LeBron's an elbow playmaker. You get him to the elbow, he's going to either drive from that position or make plays. Don't allow him to get to that position. So one, you can't get to your spots. And then when you're old, you start to pick your spots. What starts to happen? I'm guarding you. 48 possessions, guess what? I'll concede 20, but then I'm going to try to make some spectacular ones to remind everyone I'm still great. LeBron's in that position now. Younger LeBron never had to pick
The only
spots.
thing I would say, and we're running out of time here, is I think when you have LeBron's gift, you change your spots later in life. And that's what he's not willing to do, and I think it's because he's distracted and not focused. Anytime they put Patrick Beverley on him, that man should have been right down there in the paint.
Just like Kevin Durant, where he said, I'm just going to score over you.
Three.
So you change your spots. He's not willing to do that. He wants to float around the three-point line. He just wants to have fun out there. He just wants to go sit in Kevin Hart's lap. All that other stuff.
They play too slow because he's so busy
he's
taking.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their pace is
But
way up.
don't do that. Last night's not an indictment on that. With a growing injury, you realize I can't dribble drive. So guess what? I'm
with an alleged
shoot 12
groin injury.
threes.
Just
shoot
put
12 threes.
Just alleged. Or if you just say alleged, I'm good. Alleged groin injury.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.